So Double XL wants to ask who's the GOAT? And all this did was show the generational divide. We going live from the underground. What up, YouTube? Topaz Yates back with Live from the Underground. New format. No longer will we be combining the gaming and the music. We're going to do them separately. So these are probably only going to last about a half an hour. But so this has been trending for the last for the last couple days now. Like Double XL magazine, known for doing the freshman class and all that stuff. Yeah, you know how trash the list be. But they wanted to ask a question of who's the greatest of all time, and then give you a bunch of individual questions to go along with it. And these types of things are, of course, based on the individual. Like, everybody's going to have their own agenda, their own reasons for who's the GOAT, who's the most underrated rapper, who rappers I dislike, and all that stuff. Everybody's going to have their own. But there's a sharp divide. Like, when you start reading what everyone else has been putting, you begin to see exactly what year they were born in, because that's how most of these lists, how people feel about artists, that's how it all comes to play. It's not about who's the best. It's not about like actual skill levels that everybody listening to. It's all on who you are listening to or who you grew up on. So therefore, making lists like this, it doesn't quite matter, you dig? So I'm not going to drag individuals for the list that they put up there, even though we're seeing a lot of garbage lists. I'm not going to sit up here and say, oh, like somebody put Playboy Cardi in the GOAT. Like, you clearly don't listen to music now, do you? But it's all based on the preferences of the individual. And it's usually based on the generation in which you were born in and all the music that you've been listening to in that generation. Like, take myself, for example. I came up during the time of, Jay-Z, Nas, like, beefing. That took place, like, during my high school years, where that's one of the main things that my generation tends to go back and remember. So they tend to put Jay-Z, Nas into the top 5 of all time, to go along with the commons that people always like to say, Biggie, Tupac. Like, those are like the stereotypical top 5 of my entire generation. My generation being the ones who, I guess, graduated from high school 2002 to 2005, 98 to 2005 area of high school. I graduated college around 2005, but I see that commonality amongst that generation. But then when you go into the generation before mine's, like my uncles who came up in the 80s, who loved KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, all of them, they will accept Jay-Z, they will accept Nas and all that stuff. But mainly, that's the generation, so you can tell who they like. You look at more of today's generation, man. Like, you see a lot of Playboy Cardis, you see a lot of Young Thugs, you see some Kendrick Lamar, Kendrick Lamar is one of those individuals who have risen to the point where a lot of people have been accepting of him. You begin to see a bunch of Lil Babies. You begin to see a lot of, you see a lot of, say, Megan Thee Stallions when you go on with the female rappers, the female fans. They like Nicki Minaj, they like Megan Thee Stallion, they like Doja Cat, they like all these individuals, you feel me? And more like recent rappers and stuff, well, you see a lot of people with Kanye West. You see some people saying Dave East, individuals like that. Like, it was really shocking to me to see how little people actually put Lil Wayne in this list, even though he went on a whole campaign talking about how he was the greatest, and there was a entire, I guess, around 2000s, the 2008-ish people usually are the ones who rock with Wayne the hardest, and then you see a lot of Eminem from that generation as well. It's all based on the generational divide because people don't listen to music after a certain amount of time. This is something that is common amongst everyone. Like, why is it people get to a certain point like, oh, okay, I'm done listening to music. My generation was the best. I'm just going to walk away. Like, Eminem was the greatest ever. I don't care what new music or anybody new coming out. No, all y'all trash. Like, I'm settled in my ways. I'm settled in my times. Like, very few times you actually see people jump from that divide. Like, there's a few people that I've seen that, like Denzel Curry, they will put in the most underrated. Then they'll say Notorious B.I.G. is the greatest rapper of all time, but the favorite rapper is Kendrick Lamar. Individuals like that, you can tell they listen to music. They listen to a lot of it from generation to generation. And whether you agree or disagree on what they got to say, you can tell that they actually give music a shot. But then you got people who clearly don't. Individuals like, say, this guy who says MF Doom is his favorite rapper of all time. Okay, so who's your rapper that you dislike? Most modern. Do you think this individual actually listened to? Do you think he actually listened to Ritz, who's a modern rapper? Most people don't give a chance because he doesn't have the mainstream promotion like that. But yet, okay, rapper who grew on me from this individual, he says Andre 3000 of that generation, the greatest of all time, the Tribe Called Quest. Like, oh, that's classic stereotypical of what, the 90s, early 90s, 92 to 96. Like, you can tell when these people came about based on all these individuals. Like, okay, here's another MF Doom individual. He said, rapper I dislike, 6ix9ine. That's common because 6ix9ine is getting mass promotion still to this day. Everybody has hold of 6ix9ine. But yet, who's your favorite rapper? Oh, most underrated rapper, Inspector Deck. Now, okay, I've never been a huge Inspector Deck fan. It's like only until I watched the Wu-Tang TV show, you feel me, I began to gather an understanding or an appreciation for what Inspector Deck has brought to the table. But when it came to Wu-Tang, I was always, Method Man. I was always Ghostface, Method Man, and Raekwon. Those were the ones that I just rode with because those were the most notable ones, and I rock with those. But I have gathered a better understanding of what Inspector Deck has to offer. But this individual said his GOAT was Nas. It fits. It's all generational, you dig? And there's such a divide that we can never have unity amongst these things. People will never like the underground rap community like I've been pushing people to try to get involved with, because that's where there's very little like stuff that's holding individuals back, where people can make the best music possible. Where if we were all to unify and actually go and search out the best rappers that we can on the underground, not only could we make individuals millionaires, not only can we provide the basis for what underground music, we could provide the basis of what music is and take full control over what this commercialized industry has sabotaged, because all they want to do is promote nonsense and garbage and say, oh, we're the mainstream, so we know what we're talking about, we know what sells, when clearly they don't. When clearly they just put out there whoever they want to put out there. And when they do that, it sabotages the quality of music for the long run. But when you don't go through and put effort into and listen to new generations of music, when you get stuck in your time period and that's all you want to listen to, then you out the game, fam. Like, you'll have your own opinion on who's the best, who's the most underrated, who's the greatest of all time, what rappers you dislike. Yeah, you can have your own opinion, but it does nothing for the community as a whole, for individuals who are doing music now, who are putting forth quality music right now that are better than your favorite artists of all time. These individuals that can take the game and make it more interesting for you if you were to actually support, if you were to actually listen to these people, if you were to actually promote people on the underground, it would be so much better. But yet everybody gets jammed up in the whole generation and my music is so much better than everybody else's music. It becomes a competitive, it becomes not necessarily, yeah, it does. It becomes a competitive banter type of thing instead of actually being something of the real. Like, here's an individual here. Said his favorite rapper of all time, or is it a girl? I think it's a girl. Her favorite rapper of all time is Drake. So, does it surprise you when she says the most overrated rapper of all time is Kanye West? Now, I'm not saying Kanye is amazing or anything like that, but he's far from overrated. He's more of just an individual who is super hyped up. He's one of those individuals who took mainstream and made his own success out of it. And because of him being diverse and different and doing whatever he wants to, he's always going to be a successful mainstream rapper. But I don't think any of us came into it thinking that Kanye was ever going to be one of the greatest to ever do it. So therefore, I can't say that he's overrated. But who is this woman's greatest rapper of all time? Juice WRLD. Does that disqualify her? To many people, yes. Yes, that would completely disqualify her for everything that she has to say, because Juice WRLD, he didn't prove anything. He never had the skill set, and he died too soon, and you're just giving him props because he died too soon. And then she says the most underrated rapper that she feels is the Kid Laroi, and I've listened to the Kid Laroi, and no, he's not underrated. He's kind of whack, but that's your own personal preferences. As she's saying, the rapper that she dislikes is Blueface, and I feel that Blueface puts in zero effort to being an actual artist. So yeah, he's pretty bad, fam. He's pretty bad. And then you got another like new age individual who's saying that his favorite rapper of all time is Roddy Ricch. Like, for real? Like, Roddy Ricch hasn't proven himself for the long term to be considered as your favorite rapper of all time. But I mean, it's your personal preference. Take what you feel. Rapper that grew on him, Cardi B. Really? But okay. The greatest rapper of all time for this individual is Eminem. Now, that comes off as an individual that's saying, okay, everybody says that Eminem is the greatest of all time, so I don't want to have no arguments with nobody. I don't care. So let me just go ahead and rock with Eminem. Matter of fact, let me show y'all. No. Nope, it's not going to let me show you. It's not going to let me. No, hold up. I might. Yeah, there we go. I'll be able to show you guys. Look at this guy. Babytron. Clearly somebody who's hyping up an individual. But who else we got? This guy, Talk to Myself. Favorite rappers of all time: Eminem, Scarface, Kane. J. Cole, Joey Badass. This is an individual that is jumping from generation to generation to generation. As he's saying, the GOAT is Eminem and Jay-Z. The most underrated rappers would be Royce da 5'9", Busta Rhymes, Scarface. This is an individual who has actually listened to music through a few generations. Not so much for the newest generation and definitely not underground. But yet, you can tell he dislikes this generation. As he's saying, the most overrated rappers are Cardi, Playboy Cardi, which I'll give you that. But then Lil Baby, I don't think Lil Baby is super overrated. I think for what he is, he's cool. But clearly he dislikes the 2010, the 2020, the late 18, the late teens, the 20s. But he likes 90s. He likes 2000s. 90s and 2000s. This is this individual where he listened to music. Where most people stopped in the 90s, where most people stopped just in the early 2000s. He actually went through 2 generations, which is whatever. As this girl, Beetlejuice, is saying, her favorite rapper of all time is Nas. Nas is the GOAT. Okay. Most underrated rapper, Guru Gang, never even heard of that. Most overrated rapper. And the rapper that I dislike is anyone who's using auto-tune. And I can feel that to a degree, but I mean, there has been people who have used the auto-tune in a interesting fashion, in a quality fashion. I mean, can you say that T-Pain, the guy who pretty much made it, who popularized it to a degree, can you say that that individual did it horrible? Can you say that he's a horrible individual for doing that? I don't think so. I think he provided the foundation for horrible rappers to take what he did and run with it. But I wouldn't say that, he's a bad rapper per se. Rapper/singer. And this guy, Floji-san, he's actually a fighting game player who's washed up, might I add. But he has his own list where he's saying Eminem is the greatest rapper of all time, his favorite rapper. Makes sense based on who he is and what he does. And then he's saying the most overrated rapper is Lil Wayne. Rapper he dislikes is Blueface, rapper who grew on him, the baby. He's listening to what people are telling him to listen to for this new generation. And then he says the most underrated rapper is NF. So Eminem likes, Eminem whack, Eminem with no balls is your most underrated rapper, and your greatest rapper is Eminem. Like, okay, fam. All right, dog. But who is my greatest rappers? Like, who is my list? And I did my list right here for those of you who want to know. And whether you agree to disagree, we probably won't agree on this 1,000%. But okay. My favorite rapper of all time, I would have to say, is Jay-Z. And I say Jay-Z the musician because his classic works are undeniable. Go back to Reasonable Doubt, one of my favorite albums. I still listen to this damn near all the way through, all the way, dude. Like, there's only a couple songs on it that I skip. I know a lot of the lyrics on the vast majority of, like, I can recite these bars. But then, honestly, I got a whole playlist that I would listen to on like an SD disc kind of, like that filled up completely with nothing but Jay-Z stuff. From the early days before I understood who Jay-Z was, which is why the rapper I dislike is Jay-Z, because Jay-Z is a complete sellout. I cannot rock with many of these things that Jay-Z has done in his entire career, in his business life, all the things that he's done to sabotage individuals, all the theft that he's done of other people's balls. I cannot stand with these things that Jay-Z did, but I'm not going to deny musically, I rock with a lot of his stuff, man, from Blueprint, Blueprint 2. I even listen to Blueprint 3 stuff. I listen to, man, you name it, except for like his later stuff. But Mostly his catalog is amazing. A rapper that grew on me, Drake. There was a long time that I didn't like Drake. People who followed this channel for the years, you've known. Like the whole Marvin Room time period where he was doing nothing but the super dry songs of singing and all that. I couldn't stand it. Drake's music was kind of whack to me for a very long time, man. But as he begun to come back to the hip hop side of things, as he continued to get his ghostwriting and step that up and putting out some of the best music that's out there, as he's maintaining his #1 slot for all of the moves that he's been doing, he definitely grew on me to the point I'm like, yo, you got to give Drake his respect. You got to give him his respect for being one of the best to have done it at this point. As he is a descendant of Ja Rule, in which Ja Rule had a hell of a run till 50 Cent came and shut it down and stopped it when everybody tried to do the same thing to Drake. He won't let it happen. He's just that good. My most overrated rapper, Logic. And I like Logic. I was one of the first people to say people need to listen to Logic. When he first came out with mixtapes and all that stuff, I was one of the first ones to promote him. I like him. As much as people don't think I like him, I do. But when people try to take what he does and say that he's one of the greatest to do it, how he's an amazing lyricist and all that, he's not. He's none of these things. He puts forth some decent music from time to time. He's borderline washed up at this point because he doesn't care about music, but yet they overrate him ridiculous. They want him to go down as one of the best to do it when he's clearly not. But he did his thing for what time he had. Most underrated rappers. Nick Grant, I've made that clear for a very long time. I feel as though he has what it takes to become one of the greatest to ever do it if people ever give him a shot. And same with Freddie Gibbs, another person that I followed for years and years and years from like when labels wanted to kill me. Like that was the first project that I came across Freddie Gibbs. I'm like, yo, and that was so hot I had to go back and listen to all of his previous works. From the Miseducation of Freddie Gibbs, the Gangsta Frame Cadillac Music. Like, even though I messed that completely up, but I did that deliberately because he made fun of that himself. But these are all the individuals that I rock with. You feel me? As I saw, there was some questions. Hold up. Well, some statements. As, what up, Intelligent Cycle? Intelligent Cycle says, for me, I don't have a definite greatest rapper of all time because so many MCs I listen to, ones I relatively have to reassure myself to listen. Most of my lists would consist of underground. And I feel that there's a ton of great musicians out here that these lists is pointless to a degree for an individual who actually put forth the work, who put forth the time and the effort in order to understand what quality music is. It's impossible for you to create your own, create a standard list. Like, bro, I have 10 years worth of music of underground acts that's organized from month to month, where each month there's at least 10 new musicians in there that a lot of people don't even know of, and then there's a bunch of people that are amazing. Like, with that raw amount of music that I listen to every day, is borderline impossible for me to stick to one particular list. Like, I say Jay-Z is the greatest rapper because he's one that is widely recognized amongst the peers. And he's one whose catalog I respect. Even though I don't respect him as an individual, his catalog is one that's hard to deny. So therefore, that's one that is hard for people to argue with me with. But damn, dude. But damn. Let me go ahead and do this. It's near impossible, fam, to actually create a list like this for everybody to agree, because there's a generational divide amongst everybody. For people like us who who focus in on the underground, who know the underground music as dope as it is and all of that stuff, it's near impossible for us to actually come up with an actual list because we know too much. There's too much quality music. We have too big of a playlist. We can play stuff all the time that'll sabotage anybody's feelings. Like when people come and tell me, oh, KRS-One was the greatest, do it, that's real hip hop. I can come up with a list of individuals that do what KRS-One does that never got put on, but yet they do it 10 times better. I can do that because I study this, I follow this, I made it so. So it's impossible for me to come up with that list. Like, this list is merely for the individuals who don't know music. All the people who are just going to stand up for their generation, stand up for the few people that they came up with, that they actually respect, and take that and use it as slander against the future generation. Because the vast majority of people who put forth these lists, they all hated on the new generation. Which sucks, because if you hate on the new generation and all of this styles and all of that stuff, man, these people are the ones who's going to remember that. These are the people that's going to be completely against you, that's not going to feel anything that you got to say, and then they're going to take this music that you don't like and they're going to spin off on it. This is the future in which the direction of music is going, and you're allowing it because you're hating on them instead of like, yo, okay, I see that you like these individuals, and I'm not hating on these people. I'm just telling you there are better out there of your generation that you should be listening to. Like, I'm not here to hate on you. I'm not here to diminish the music that you guys are putting forth. I'm just saying, instead of listening to Lil Baby all the time, listen to Jay Grams. For those of you who know who Jay Grams is one of the new guys who's coming up, who's fire. He just signed his deal. I think he got put on through same people that put Big Crit and all these individuals on from the beginning. Like, Jay Grams is an individual that people may know of in the future. He's of your generation. Instead of just hyping and rolling with the super hyped individuals like Lil Baby, and I like Lil Baby, I'm not hating on him, but instead of just rolling with him, listen to the people who actually are fire though. People of your generation who actually put forth quality damn music. Can we do that? Is that possible? Like, okay, let me go ahead, man. You know, I told myself I wasn't gonna play nothing, but let me play you some Jay Grams. Actually, no, I can't play the Jay Grams because I'm working on something in the future. Keeping it close to my chest, But when you hear it, it's going to be next level. But all these people out here, man, don't hate on the new generation, because new generation rappers are coming up and they're pretty fire. Like, listen to Poya. Poya, he just came out with an album. I'm going to try to make a short about it. But Poya is of this generation, and he's somewhat of a throwback styled artist, and he's pretty good. He's pretty good, dude. Man, who else of this generation would people? Jid, Loot, these individuals who, when people say there's no real hip hop or anything like that, no more of this time period and stuff, listen to them. Listen to Isaiah Rashad. He's of this generation. He's new. Listen to IDK. Like, there's a long list of quality rappers that people are really slandering when you say, oh, this generation ain't got nothing on the 90s because the greatest rapper of all time is Jay-Z. The greatest rapper of all time is Eminem. Like, all these people who's doing that, they never heard these people. And it's a shame because when you don't maintain your mentality of underground hip hop, if you don't maintain your status in hip hop, you lose point of view, you lose respect of your peers, you lose like I personally can criticize this new generation because I actually listen to them. Like there was one time that I was doing it wasn't a party, like I had like a photo booth for like this youth gathering, like for a YMCA type thing, where the kids want to come up to me and tell me how great Post Malone is. And when I told them that Post Malone is trash, I don't like anything that he did, and the fact that he's working off of white privilege and all that, the youth was mad at me for that. But yet, when I was able to break it down to them of the generation of artists that they need to be listening to, then they gave me respect. It was no longer that I'm a hater of the generation. I just dislike this individual because I have my reasons. But yet, I respect some of the stuff that y'all be dropping though. I understand and I listen to your individuals, all your new acts. I know them better than you do. So therefore, I help promote them. I will put you on to some new individuals. You feel me? It's important to do it like that. As Intelligent Cycle, I'm going to catch up on some of these comments. It's saying his favorite rapper is Kendrick Lamar. Rapper he dislike is Lil Baby. I feel you, bro. 1,000. Underrated, Elza. Oh, Elza never really got his shine, never got his chance to shine, man. But you kind of got to throw that on Nas, don't you? Underrated, AZ. Yep. That's one of my favorites of all time right there. Smoke DZA, Sky Zoo, Open Mike Eagles, Mick Jenkins. Yeah, I respect that. I respect that. He's saying, and he almost forgot about Nick Grant. He'll add him onto his underrated list. I respect that 1,000. Solid list, but again, these are all personal preferences, man. These are all things that we're never going to fully agree on. It's all based on the generation of music that individuals have been listening to. But individuals like you and myself, we have a greater collection of individuals that we've been listening to. So we have a greater understanding. So therefore, we have the ability to offer the best advice. But people won't even listen to us because you're so stuck into your generation was better than everybody else's generation, when that's a competition that no one can win. Who's going to side against their own generation of music and people, all the people that they came up with? All of their friends listen to the same music. Who's going to side against that? So as much as you want to argue and tell individuals, oh, your music is trash, y'all need to... No, they have a whole collection of people who's listening to it. They have a whole collection of people who's feeling it, that they grew up with, that they have entire discussions with, just like we did when we were coming up too. So, as much as the generations before us tried to discredit our whole experience with hip hop, we can't discredit their experiences with hip hop. Because if you do that, you sabotage music and it continues to get worse as it goes. Instead of teaching, showcasing the generation of great musicians. You feel me? That's where the importance come into. We, as the older generations of people who understand music better than they do because we're more experienced, we need to showcase the best artists so that they can appreciate the best artists. Because they are still stuck in the hamster wheel. They're still stuck in the, okay, I can only listen to the music that the mainstream pushed to me because I don't know any better. They're stuck in that. And we need to wake them up from that so that the next generation can get a better chance too. So that we can end this cycle of hating on each other for generational differences. If we can stop that, then the quality music within each generation that everyone of these generations can respect, because there's been multiple times that I just been riding with people who are stuck in the generation who don't like anybody new or anybody of that. But yet, if you ride with me from Atlanta to Charlotte, or you ride with me for no matter how long, I'll play you something of this generation that's fire. And then you'll begin to be like, oh, hold up. There are good rappers out here. I've done it 1,000 times. I've proven that if we can begin to point the blame at the people who's at fault instead of pointing at each other, who's at fault? Who's to blame for this separation and for people not understanding what quality music is and not giving quality musicians in their own generation a shot? Who's to blame for this? The people who's making the most money, the people who stand the most to gain from it. That's who's to blame. These record labels who's actively seeking out the worst possible musicians, who actively seeked out 6ix9ine, who actively seeked out the Kid Leroy, even though, I mean, I ain't gonna say that he's complete garbage or nothing like that, but it is what it is. These people who seek out the lesser talented individuals, they are the ones who got the money to promote these individuals to the world. They are the individuals who make it difficult for anyone to get put on. They the ones who make it so the baby has to wear a diaper in order for him to get put on in the game. These people. These are the people that we need to be pointing the blame at for music being so terrible and there being such a divide generationally. But the problem is, no one wants to point the blame at the people who's at fault. Instead, you want to point the blame at each other so that the generational gap continues to compound, giving them more power. Like, this is something that's consistent amongst everything. It's a divide and conquer. They divide us so that they can put out the music that they want to put out, and that music happens to have an agenda tied to it. And this agenda right now is the gay agenda, quote unquote. They're pushing that ridiculous because we're so separated that we can't promote or listen to our own favorite artists. We can't push and promote artists who are deserving of it. You feel me? It comes down to we allow it to happen instead of just enjoying quality music from quality musicians from generation to generation and showing respect. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I wasn't really feeling that versus battle, because like I want to show respect to the elders, the people who provided the foundation for hip hop music to succeed. I want to show y'all respect, but y'all don't want to show us respect. You don't want to show my generation respect. You don't want to show the underground respect. You don't want to show the new generation respect. You just want to slander everybody to say that your quote unquote real hip hop is the best. And then you wonder why no one cares about you. Why the later generation ain't holding you up. We ain't promoting you like crazy no more. Like your whole generation, people who are stuck in the 80s, y'all just going to sit there and just continue to be an echo chamber. And there's a lot less of you than there are of the new generation that's going to do their own thing. You understand? But that's just how I'm feeling about this, you feel me? And I'm about to log off on this one, you feel me? But I'm going to be right back. And we're going to do a Street Fighter stream, a solo Street Fighter stream, unless somebody got a question they want to ask within the next, I'll say 30 seconds, starting at 40 minutes right now. If you got a question, ask him now, but I'm about to log off of this and then reload and then pull back up and go into some Diamond Street Fighter gameplay. Just overall, man, all I'm saying is this point blank period. It's time to research. Find your own artists that you enjoy. Help promote them. Let's begin to take this industry back, because the real hip hop heads, they the ones who sold the game. They the ones who allowing this garbage to be promoted in mainstream like that. They the ones who made it happen. It's time we take our power back. It's time to take our culture back. This is something that we built. Generations before us built it and passed it down to us, and quality musics and the quality musicians within it have continued and pushed this to being something where man, there's a lot of us out here, dude. You gotta show love to us. It's time for us to take back what's ours and quit playing with it. You feel me? Stop letting these people, because they got the money and they sit in the boardrooms and they tell you who's hot and they promoting who. Stop letting these people dictate how we feel. Professor X, what up, man? What were my thoughts on the Lloyd Banks Cody? There was some joints on there. There's some joints on there that still rock on. Is it? I don't think it's on my playlist. That was before. I think I downloaded some of them songs. They was on Dat Piff. There's still like a couple joints on it, but I will say it hasn't aged gracefully. I will say that. It hasn't survived the play. It hasn't become a must play every time I go through my playlist and I see it around. Like, I'll listen to it from time to time when I'm in the mood, because it's good. It's good. It's just not great. There's been far better over the time since Cody came out. But that's it for this live stream, man. If you guys made it to the ending here, man, feel free to leave a like, subscribe. I try to do one of these every weekday to a degree, like every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursdays. Fridays are usually for the reviews and such. But I'll be right back for anybody out there who want to peep the gameplay. Y'all be easy.